Of the Conejo Recreation and Park District Board meeting to order. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And welcome to our meeting, distinguished guests. Roll call, please.
Yes, Director Cussworth.
Here.
Director Buss. Here. Director Huffer.
Yes.
Director Nichols.
Yes.
Director Roscoe. Yes.
Do we have a special presentation? No. Okay. Well, it says special presentations, and I thought maybe we had something that wasn't mentioned there. Okay. Any items from the public? No. All right. Can we have an approval of the agenda?
I'll make approval of the agenda.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Consent calendar. Can we have a motion to approve the consent calendar A and B?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar A and B.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on. We have one deferred matter, our public hearing for the preliminary budget fiscal year 2026, 2027. I open this deferred matter. Do we have anything to discuss, Mrs. Smith? Is there anyone online that would like to make a comment about our upcoming budget? No? There is not. I'm going to close this meeting about the public hearing preliminary budget fiscal year 2026, 2027. Oh, is there anyone on the board who wanted to make a comment now that I've closed it? I can open it up again. No, okay. So we'll move along. Is there any items for discussion that no. New items. Madam Clerk, will you please read 9A for us?
Yes, item 9A, grant agreement with McCray Ranch Foundation for development services of restoration efforts, development and interpretation and restoration of the interior and exterior of McCray Ranch facilities up to $450,000.
Okay, very good. Mr. Friedel, would you like to talk about this? Or is Mr. Mooney going to talk about this?
I will be.
Okay, Mr. Mooney.
Thank you, Chair Cussworth, members of the board. As you are aware, we've had an agreement memorandum of understanding with the McCray Ranch Foundation since April 2011 is the most recent agreement. Over the past 15 years, the foundation, with the assistance of the district, has been able to do programming, showcasing events on the McCray Ranch property, as well as sharing the heritage and history of the property to the community. In 2025, there were approximately 6,700 annual visits at the facility. So additionally, the foundation has provided stewardship of the property to help preserve and protect the legacy of the ranch, its structures, and the story of what the McCray family has had there over time. So with that, since fiscal year 2012, 2013 to the present day, the foundation has contributed over $275,000, which has helped with the district's help and the foundation to be able to accomplish over $750,000 worth of capital improvements on the property, which is really good partnership work. That's one of our top nonprofits that we work with throughout the community. So it's definitely something that we're helping support, but we also have a good partner to support the activities and the capital and infrastructure that's happening on that property. So in anticipation of the 100th year anniversary, which will be in 2033, district staff as well as foundation representatives have met a few times this past year to be able to partner up again, work together to be able to accomplish more on the property. So the projects that are being contemplated are for the entire ranch facility. However, there are priorities set in conversations with the foundation to be able to provide professional development services, provide interpretive exhibits, as well as the actual labor and work for the restoration and repair of the historic structures on the property. And so the idea of this enhanced capital grant program really is to celebrate the 100th year anniversary of the McCray Ranch, but then also being able to preserve the structures and improvements that are notable because they are listed on the National Register of Historic Places, as well as create the opportunity for the foundation to be able to secure funding from the district to continue their mission, but then also with us being able to provide the funding that will help them to be able to get additional funding from other outside grants and organizations to be able to meet the ask or the call for the project, and then thus improving all the work out at the ranch with the historic preservation, all the details. Obviously, we're out there for the tour today, so there's definitely work to be done out there and to help us preserve the property in partnership with the foundation. So again, there's a handful of contemplated projects, different priority levels. A lot of the work will be done at the main house and the maids' quarters at the main house area. But included in your packet, there is a list of projects. But basically, the attached proposed grant agreement is calling out about $900,000 worth of improvements on the property. The district would provide up to $450,000 of that $900,000 to the foundation. The grant payment would be very similar to how we do our matching grant now, our annual grants that we do. We have a matching grant program up to $25,000 is the typical ask on an annual basis. And so for every dollar spent, we would pay or reimburse for the work done 50 cents, right? So it's a 1-for-1 matching. And so from a funding standpoint, years 1, 2, and 3 would increase $150,000 per year for the maximum by year 3 up to $450,000. However, any monies that weren't requested from the prior year would be carried over. So the $450,000, if they could only spend $100,000 the first year, or sorry, to reimburse, the ask was to reimburse for $100,000, then we would have that extra $50,000 for year 2, right? So, and then that way they can pace the work that's happening out there. The term of the agreement would be for 9 years, and it would run until June of 2035. We added a couple, 2 years on the end of the grant just because it is a historic property. Construction's construction, even on new stuff. And so with the structures being well over 100 years old, some of them, we want to make sure that we are able to complete the projects in a obviously decent amount of time if we can get it done sooner. But 9 years between the district and the foundation, we felt very comfortable with that timeline. But we're both hoping to accomplish more sooner. And then also an item to note, during the grant period, up to that $450,000 ask for reimbursement, the foundation wouldn't be eligible for our annual grant. So typically, as I mentioned, the foundation has been a very good partner on getting a lot of work done. They're always submitting a grant. Typically, it's always the matching at $25,000. So that would not be available for them until after this grant is completed, basically. So I'm available for questions, but if you guys want to wait till the end of the presentation, because Wyatt and McCray would want to speak for a few minutes to talk about specifics of the work, but then myself and Wyatt can be available for questions. So Wyatt, if you want to go to the podium, and Katie can pull up your slideshow.
Got it. Well, I want to thank the members of the board for allowing me to be here this evening. And I want to thank, I don't need, which way are we going? Yeah, okay. I want to thank the members of the board for allowing me to be here this evening. I want to thank General Manager Friedel and Mr. Mooney for arranging the field trip that took place an hour or so ago. I think it gave everybody an opportunity to kind of see firsthand what we're talking about. The foundation was established in 2011. At the risk of being redundant, because some of my comments will reflect what Mr. Mooney said, but we have had a great partnership with Conejo Recreation and Park District for that period of time. The family actually transferred the property to CRPD in 1995. So we have been partners for over 30 years now with the district. The foundation was established at the same time the visitor center was opened so that we could have a fundraising arm to help raise money. Our stated purpose as a foundation is rehabilitation and restoration of this historic ranch, which, as Mr. Mooney mentioned, in 2033, will be celebrating the 100th anniversary in its current state. We have an infrastructure that dates back farther than that, 136 years, but we are looking at primarily the main house for restoration at this point, because that's where the primary focus of funds would be. That's where the biggest need is. The house was built in 1933. As you guys saw during the field trip, we have done a lot of work, as Mr. Mooney referenced. We've done over 275,000 from our half. The district has contributed just as much or more. So we've done over $1 million worth of work at the ranch, which includes stabilizing stem walls, roofing, painting, walkways. The main road up to the house has been resurfaced. A variety of projects that have been done over the course of the last 15 years. But there's a lot left to be done. We enlisted RRM Design Group to help us kind of go through the slides that you see here, and I'll just click through a few of them so you can see. This is the maid's quarters. The main house is the main focus. You'll see the cost estimates associated with some of the work that needs to be done. We enlisted a restoration specialist who is nationally known to help us kind of prioritize and put together the cost list here. Our costs do include some escalation figures. Obviously, this is a long-term project. We've got 7 years to complete a lot of this work. So there's going to be some cost changes in today's world. Things are not staying the same very long. Our hope is to have a kind of a grand reopening, ribbon cutting at the end of the 7-year term during 2033. Typically, we have a big fundraiser in the spring called the Cowboy Cookout, so that would be the time that we would hope to have the majority of this work done, so that we can celebrate this process. As Mr. Mooney mentioned, the property is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which I believe is the only National Historic property that the district owns at this particular point anyway. Stagecoach? Stagecoach, okay, yeah, that's good. I didn't realize they were on the National Register, but so there's 2 of us. So that's good. But anyway, this is a property that needs to be preserved for the future, for generations to come, and that's what we're trying to do. In addition to keeping the building standing, the secondary aspect of all this would be to hopefully allow us for further programming by having enhanced facilities to make that happen. So, for instance, the house could be used more for corporate retreats or for board retreats. Hopefully, we could connect with some other higher rated places in the area, like the Reagan Library, that sort of thing, that we could host dignitaries and whatnot. So there's a lot up in the air yet, but we hope to be able to expand our scope of programming as well through the result of this program, or the result of this rehabilitation restoration. So the cost, $900,000, like I said, that does include escalators. We're hoping to be able to get as much as done for that amount of money as we possibly can. Hopefully costs don't change too much over the course of time. But we're going to move full steam ahead with this as a foundation, and we're very hopeful that the district will consider jumping on board with this. So with that, I will answer any questions.
Do we have any questions? Okay, start with Director Buss.
I have a question.
Oh, I saw her hand. We'll do this side first.
All right. Question first for Wyatt, and then I have a couple of questions for Andrew as well.
Sure.
Are there other outside sources of grants that you have or will be looking to add to what we're talking about here this evening?
We, on our half, we will definitely be enhancing our fundraising efforts as much as possible. And hopefully by the district being included, that will open up some doors for us to go after some further grants, some government grants, some historical grants, that sort of thing. So yes, we hope to investigate that as much as we possibly can. So.
Okay. And I meant to preface it by saying, thank you very much for the tour this afternoon.
No, my pleasure.
You know, every time I go up there, see something new and something different. So, and it was neat to be able to get down to the swimming pool. I'd never been down there in any of the tours, so that was great. And thank you for the information in this presentation here. You know, certainly McCray Ranch is one of my favorite spots for the Park District, and the idea of making these improvements and repairs in time for the 100th anniversary, I think is a great thing to be working towards. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Director Huffer. And I will say the 100-year anniversary from the foundation standpoint offers us the opportunity to go to the public and to go to grant givers, whoever it may be. It's a good leverage point for us to use the 100th anniversary moniker, so to speak, to help us raise money for sure. So
Good.
yeah.
And then Andrew, in the second recommendation in your presentation here, you're asking for appropriating 150,000 from the district-wide assessment fund. Presumably, is that a one-time request that you'll be coming back each year to make a similar request, or is this it doesn't sound like it's a 3-year request, it's just a one-time request?
Yeah, so basically the board action would be authorizing it for this next year. So the intent would be that because we're mid-cycle between two years, and Melissa will probably correct me when I'm done speaking, but it's basically, we will handle that through our next budget process. So the remaining 300,000 will be accounted for when the board goes through the next budget process this next year.
Okay, so with the 150,000 for year one coming out of the district-wide assessment fund, would I be correct that this will not have any impact on the overall CIP program, and that other applicants and awardees will not be impacted at all by what we're discussing here tonight?
Correct, yeah. Other than the foundation, as I mentioned, they won't be able to apply for a separate grant, so.
Okay, and then I should remember this, but the funds coming out of the district-wide assessment fund, how is the budget impacted by this 150,000 transfer?
I will let Melissa answer that.
Thought you might.
So this fund, we do a lot of our CIP out of that. So there is fund balance available for that use. So it's just from the prior year savings that accumulate over time in that fund. So it's out of that fund, and then we'll be building it into the CIP plans going forward. So, and that'll be the year 2 and 3. But for the year 1, it's just coming from the prior year savings in that fund.
Okay, so at least for the current budget year, there are no projects that have been identified as being funded out of the district-wide assessment fund that would be impacted by this 150,000 withdrawal?
No.
Or transfer, I should say.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Director Buss.
Thank you so much for the tour today. That was my first time seeing it besides driving by all the time.
Pleasure.
It was beautiful. Yeah, it's got a lot of charm. I can see why you want to continue to restore it. So I have a couple questions on, so once it's restored,
Mhm.
you just mentioned that maybe you would have like some sort of corporate retreats or things like that. So are you thinking about opening up the ranch to availability for events for people, or?
Well, the ranch is available now on a reservation basis for events for people. It can be rented. The visitor center can be rented. So that's just on a as-come basis.
Okay.
Other than that, we are not open for drop-in. We're only open if we have a scheduled event or program. And that goes back to when the visitor center was built at the city's request, that we don't open on a regular basis because of parking and traffic issues. And staff could probably get into that more than I could, but there was talk of, if we did that, they wanted to have a turn lane put into Moore Park Road, which would have been cost prohibitive for the district as well as the foundation for everybody at that particular point in time. But so it's twofold. It helps us control the number of people we get without jeopardizing any relationship with the city or causing any problems there. But it also allows us to target program a little bit more as well. So
Okay,
yeah.
so it wouldn't be like, I was thinking of like the Camarillo Ranch house and like how like my girlfriend got married there. Like, we're not looking to do,
We do weddings.
Oh,
We do
really?
weddings at the ranch. We do weddings, anniversaries, all that sort of thing. So it's all just on a reservation basis. So people can rent it. We do not rent the house per
Okay.
se at this particular point because there are no working facilities at the house, and parking is an issue. As you saw today, the
Yeah.
only way to get up and back from the house is by shuttle because there's no parking lot up there. So those kind of semantics would still have to be worked out if we decide to use the house on a more regular basis.
So once you do the restoration, it will be fully operable, the bathrooms, kitchen.
We hope to make at least portions of it operable. Whether
Okay.
it's the whole house or not will depend on costs and what we find out when we open things up. But my hope is to make it at least somewhat operable in that regard, for sure. So sinks and faucets and restroom.
Okay, and then I was just curious for the foundation itself. So I assume you will run it as long as you live or what have you, but
I hope so.
is there other people coming up that would want to continue the foundation
Well,
in the family, or what's?
We do have a board, and one board member is younger than I am, so apparently everybody thinks he's older, but he's not. But my hope is to attract one of my nieces or nephews down the road. They're all in the beginning stages of their professional lives, but I'm hoping somewhere down the road that one of them will take an interest and hopefully fill in from a family perspective on the foundation.
Okay,
So,
I was curious on that.
and here's another of our board members.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Director Best.
Okay, Director Nichols.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and welcome to our foundation board members. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the tour this afternoon. I'd been up there before, but it's always good to get up there. And as I was mentioning to you after going through the house again, it has that that California ranch elegance that is a few and far between. I know I've been to Tejon Ranch, been to Rancho Mission Viejo, some of those areas, and Southern California used to be covered with these old California ranches. That was the history, 100 years ago and more. And as with even portions of the McRae Ranch, it's now residential, and some of it major. But what I like is this one has, the McRae Ranch has still retained its character. You have no idea that the ranch was any bigger than it was today.
Right.
And yet it still has that appeal. And just as an aside, what I would hope is that it would kind of elevate to being an example of that old California ranch. So as you look forward to your centennial celebration, maybe you could broadcast that far and wide as to it's not just that it's the McRae heritage is important, but just the example of the old California ranch setting, I think is appealing as well.
Yeah.
So you've got multiple fronts on that.
Very much so, and that's always one of our stories to our visitors, is that not only from the family history, but we are one of the last standing examples in this area of what it all used to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it hasn't changed much in the last 100 years. I mean, we built the visitor center, but other than that, it's pretty much intact as it was 100 years ago. And so we're always very happy, or at least I am, to share that part of the story, that we are one of the last standing examples of what this area all used to look like.
Right.
And there's not much of it left anymore.
No,
as you
heavens no.
stated.
Yes. Now, I did have a question when you're talking about some of the unique construction. Are you able to get in touch with, maybe not personally, but either with your contractors with craftsmen that have that historical bent that can actually do what they used to do 100 years ago?
Well, that is the hope, and that's why we've enlisted the help of this restoration specialist, because he does have craftsmen that can replicate a lot of what was done in those days, and we hope to keep everything just as original as it possibly can, and including using the same type of materials if at all possible. So, yeah, that's the hope, is that we can replicate as much of that as we possibly can in the same manner.
Oh, that'd be great. Love to see that. And I know that we talked about a little bit on this side, but with the ongoing threat of wildland fire, is there also a component of trying to make sure that we have the necessary hardening of the structure as best you can, or the fuel modification around it, and as well as the facility as a whole, to ensure that all this investment is not for naught?
There's since the Palisades fire, there has been a direct effort in that regard, no question about it. You may or may not know, but the district took out 39 eucalyptus trees around the house shortly after the Palisades fire, just for that reason, just to help protect the structure. We do have wharf heads all around the house. We are looking into a more extensive sprinkler system that would work off of those wharf heads to help sprinkle the whole house. Then we do, of course, we do the weed abatement on a regular basis every year as well. So yeah, and that's kind of an ongoing thing these days. It's, it used to be seasonal. Now it pretty much is year round at this point. So we're making every effort we can to make sure the house is safe in that regard. And knock on wood, in 100 years, we haven't had one get close. So I'm hoping it stays that way.
Okay, yeah. Like I say, it would be nice to have, like I said, a fuel modification plan or a landscaping plan that shows how it affects whether, which may be some of the weed abatement, but it could also be some of the landscaping as well.
Well, in the landscaping has changed since we took the trees out. We did landscape in a different way with fire resistant plants and that sort of thing. There was a fire captain at station number 34, Jack Nosco, who some of you may have known. He's retired now, but before he retired, he came out and put together a whole plan for station 34 and had us remove a lot of vegetation that was close to the house about 10 years ago, because he said there were certain plants that were starting to encroach that he wanted us to take out, and so those have been taken out as well. So most of them kind of natural habitat, not anything that was planted, but he wanted us to clear some of that out. So we did all that at that time, and we continue to keep it cleared out. So
Good. Now, I was looking at some of the numbers here. It says that you contributed 275,000 since 2011, so over about 15 years. And with the 450,000, you're basically doubling that over the next 9 years. And
Right.
so you're of the opinion or the belief that you can double your efforts and actually contribute that amount that's, your portion of it over the
I'm
upcoming
very
years?
confident that we can, and I will say that we have a quarter of that in the bank already. So I have no doubt that we can do that, and that's the leverage with the 100-year anniversary that we hope to take advantage of as well. That we'll be able to attract some bigger outside dollars that we haven't been to this particular point. So.
Okay. And then the other thing I was noting is Director Mooney was pointing out that over the next 9 years, you would not be available to dip in for those annual, which you have been doing on a regular basis. And if you had have been doing that or would do that for the next 9 years, that would be another $225,000. So
Right.
basically, you're only getting an additional $225,000 out of this, but you're getting it up front.
That's correct. Well, not necessarily upfront, but over that period of time. I mean,
Well,
as
I
we
should say that it's kind of guaranteed, so to speak, that it's,
Right.
we're setting it aside for your
Right,
use.
right.
So you can plan in advance for that.
And that's the advantage to us, is that we can plan, because we're to do a deep dive into the construction on this. We have to be able to plan out a little bit. It's not something that we can just do $25,000 a year on. It's because we're gonna go over, and then I'd have to find money elsewhere. So.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I think it's a worthy project. And like I said, I hope you can expand your influence throughout the region or the state even as to how
Right.
valuable this property is. As I think it is, it's a tremendous example. And like I told you, it's just having been to the Reagan Ranch, it just has that same feel, that same, California Western elegance of the 100 years ago. And I think we just need to advertise that more. So get it out there. This will be a good opportunity. So I look forward to that. So thanks for the tour and for the presentation. And thank you, Director Mooney, as well.
I appreciate that, Director Nichols. Thank you. That California ranch feel is something you can't describe. You just have to go and feel it. So
Thank you, Director Nichols. Director Orozco.
Yeah, similar to what my colleagues had mentioned before, expressing their gratitude. Thank you so much. That was a really lovely tour. I had never been up to the house before, and so it was really wonderful to see. In addition to what I had already experienced, on a previous tour, I don't think I have any additional questions that haven't already been asked. But thank you again.
thank you, Director Roscoe. I appreciate that. I will just add one thing that the way that I personally feel about this, one way to describe it was one of the previous general managers of the district, Tex Ward, who was general manager when we transferred the property, used to refer to it as the crown jewel of the district, and that's kind of the way we look at it for sure.
So now it's my turn. First, could you please introduce your foundation member who has just joined us?
Yes, this is Mr. Chuck Cohen, who is the treasurer of the board. Chuck, wave your hand.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So I know McCray Ranch quite well.
Yes, you do.
I don't know how long have I been a volunteer? There's been quite a long time.
Quite a long time, yeah.
So, and I know the buildings and everything very well. I've given lots of tours there. So I have a very special place in my heart for McCray Ranch and also enjoy working with Wyatt very much. I wanted to clarify, the Stagecoach and Museum is on the National Registry of Historic Places as a reconstructed building.
I see, okay.
As that
Yeah.
building was at first moved from where Ventu Park is to its present location. When it was turned into a museum, it burned down after a few years and then it was reconstructed.
Right.
So, so there's a lot of changes that have happened to that museum. Yes, if it had still been standing, it was built in 1876, so that would have been quite notable. It also should be mentioned that your bunkhouse is the oldest standing structure that we know of in the Conejo Valley.
That's correct.
Not
Built
saying
late-
that there aren't others, but
Yeah.
on that complex, we do have a building that was built in the 1800s. And as far as I know, that's the only one. And of course, we don't have many other buildings that are older than 1933. That is one of the few. I think there's only two that I can think of right now. So we're a very new community. I also think it'd be mentioned as Director Nichols was talking about the ranch style, we've lost Will Rogers.
Yes.
So this makes, I think, the preservation of the McCray Ranch even more valuable. And one thing that I love about the McCray Ranch is when I go up there and I sit on the porch of the visitor center and I just look out over the valley, I feel like I could have been there 100 years ago. And that's what it still looks like. And most buildings that we have in California older buildings are surrounded by city. So it's very nice to have something like that that's not surrounded by city and that you can really get a feel of how it was. It's an original building. It has original furnishings. It's on the original land and the land has been preserved. So all of that is very, very special. So thank you for your effort that you have put into this. I think it's very impressive that you have wanted to preserve not just your family's legacy, but also the legacy of ranching that we have here. So I think that it's a important part of our historical story here in Conejo Valley. So thank you very much. When you were talking about partnering with Reagan Ranch, would dignitaries from Reagan Ranch, if they had, say, Congress people or whatever, come and stay overnight at McCray? Is that what you're thinking?
I don't envision overnight stays, no, but just many times they get people that come in, speakers or whatever the case might be. They don't have a lot for them to do during the day. It would be just kind of a partnership to allow them to have some place historic to come and see a little bit more about the region, a little bit more about the area, and share a little bit of local history as well. So.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I don't envision overnight stays. I think that would take us into another type of.
okay, that's what I
category.
was wondering because that seemed like that would be quite a prize. dinner in the
Eh,
kitchen?
Potentially,
Maybe something like that?
potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
yeah.
That sounded very good. All right. Are there any other questions or comments that we have? All right, then. I believe that we are ready to make a motion. Do I need to talk to you again? No. Okay, great. We have a new little tradition here that even though it's been going on for a year, I'm still trying to get the hang of it. All right. So, do we have anyone who would like to make a recommendation, 1 and 2, to pass what we've been talking about for the McCray Ranch? Director Huffer.
Thank you very much. I would like to move that we, one, authorize the general manager to enter into a grant agreement with McCray Ranch Foundation for development services of restoration efforts, development and interpretation, and restoration of the interior and exterior of McCray Ranch facilities. And two, that we appropriate $150,000 from the fiscal year 26-27 from the district-wide assessment fund to annual CIP grant fund.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll make a second.
Thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. That passes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your comments.
Okay, moving on to acquisition of, oh, Madam Clerk, can you please read this?
Before you say anything, just
Okay.
might be nice to just,
Do we have a picture?
yeah, that'd be actually really cool.
Okay, we've made a decision, a quick decision to have a picture. So if we could have Tom and Chuck and Wyatt. Okay, moving on to 9B. So Madam Clerk, can you please read this for us?
Yes. Item 9B, acquisition of City of Thousand Oaks owned property at 524 Jans Road by Conejo Recreation and Park District in the amount of $1 and related matters.
Hmm.
Yes. Thank you, Chair Cusworth, members of the board. Just a reminder, back in March of 2025, we did one of our field trip meetings and we did a tour of a few different properties, one of which was 524 Jans Road. And so just to just to kind of orientate you, if you look on page 39 of your report packet, there's an exhibit. It shows the 1.1 acre, which is labeled the PSA, which is the purchase and sale agreement parcel. And then there is a 0.6 acre parcel that is the LA parcel, which would be for the license agreement. And so the city owns the 1.1 acre parcel. The city has a right-of-way easement on the 0.6 acre parcel. But both parcels have operated since the developer built the homes as a green space. It's city green space. It was not designated as a park, but it is a green space. So the neighborhood has used it as an informal park, if you will. But since the city doesn't do parks and we do parks, we've been working with the city staff for the past year to see how we could acquire that. And for good reason, right? The need, right? So just to orientate you, our master plan, Zone D, Neighborhood Planning Area 13 is where this parcel exists. We're currently deficient overall 53.8 acres. But specifically 5.3 acres in neighborhood parks, right? So that's the importance of the master plan, is to be able to kind of track how our population ratios work with our park acreage. And so if you look at on page 40 and 41 of the packet, Exhibit B, that's an excerpt from our master plan. And it's showing exactly the location. If you look on the 13, the planning area 13, it would be on the very north portion of that, just left of Jan's Road. So it's at Jan's and Lynn Road right there, is where the location is. But the importance of that further is on page 42 of your packet, is part of what the board approved and part of our really mission and kind of drive or charge for the master plan is to try to make it as our park system as walkable as possible, especially neighborhood parks, because neighborhood parks are serving the neighborhood. So people don't have to get in a car. They don't even have to get on a bike necessarily to get to their neighborhood park, right? So all the purple on that exhibit is the offset of a half a mile or a 10-minute walk currently from our owned parcels. The red area is the parcels itself, and then the dash red circle would be the walkability of that of a half mile or 10-minute walk. And obviously some of that spans into some open space over private property and everything, but the intent is that we're filling a gap, which is important, right? Throughout the whole park system, we have little gaps here and there, especially with land use changes and things, where we'll have to take a look at just like Hillcrest and Fireworks Hill, the importance of trying to fill any gaps that we have within and where we know housing is. Well, this currently has housing around it, and it currently doesn't have a walkable neighborhood park. So that's on the need aspect of it. So, and then kind of getting into the purchase and sale agreement and license agreement. Basically the main terms: purchase price, city's giving us a great deal, $1. For the 1.1 acres, the city would transfer the ownership of land with improvements. So there are mature trees. They do have irrigation infrastructure. They do have electrical there. So they would be providing that with the land. And then we would take over ownership of the parcel, but we would be maintaining it. So we would take over the ownership just like it's any other park. One thing that is like why this is kind of coming to be is it was once irrigated with natural turf. Well, when the drought was going on, the city turned off the water. And so that's some function because it wasn't a park. It didn't fall within the requirements to keep it green because it wasn't functional turf. It wasn't designated as a park space. So that is something that my staff will have to take a look at is, hey, is there a simpler way to be able to provide a more amenity on the park space, but then also the factor of the city's helping us out by doing some improvements with irrigation controller. We're doing some fencing to help with some safety and some access and things like that, some gates on the property. So that's coming with the purchase. On or before 120 days is the effective date of the PSA would be the closing date. And then the license agreement would be the same. We would have use of that parcel and we would maintain it. So basically we would be taking over the city's responsibility of that parcel. So, and then just from a future plans, just like any other property, We know we're going to have to do some work on it. A range anywhere from like 15 to 20,000 more dollars typically, and that's including water, the cost of water to be able to irrigate it once we reestablish turf there and put in planting and stuff. But then it's the factor of we'll be holding additional community meetings with the neighborhood. So I've been in coordination with Nodder, the Public Works Director, on his email threads that he's established with the neighbors. So we would start with reaching out to them after acquisition, hopefully by the end of this year, in the next 6 months or so, we would meet with them and then just have a neighborhood meeting saying, hey, this is a neighborhood park. What would you like at your neighborhood park? And we'll kind of come up with a feasibility plan and a concept plan. And then we would come back to the board to say, hey, this is the approach. This is what we've heard from the community, and kind of establish that process. It's a little bit different because it is an existing developed parcel. So we already have mature trees. We already have utility connections. So there's probably going to be minimal improvements, such as maybe a small playground, some seating. It's on a little bit of a slope, so a court may or may not work from a feasibility cost standpoint. But again, trying to bring it up to the level of all of our parks, right? Since we do have quite a great inventory of parks and amenities throughout the park system. But we would be returning to the board at a later date once we get a little bit more information and do a little bit more reconnaissance on our end as ownership. And then just to make you aware, city staff presented the same recommendation to city council this week on April 14th, which was approved. So the city's in agreement, we're in agreement, and myself and Jim, if you got any more detailed questions, are available. So that's my report.
Thank you very much, Director Mooney. We'll start on this side. Director Orozco, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions other than I only have $1 on me. If I put the $1, will you guys Venmo me your 20 cents? Oh, you brought your 20 cents. That's fantastic. No, I'm very excited to be filling in this part of the community with a space that the community can come together. So thank you so much for working with the city on this. It's wonderful. No additional comments. Thank you.
Director Nichols.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. I did have a question regarding the lease agreement area.
Sure.
It's for use and maintenance, but if the community meetings evolve in such a way where they want a picnic table over there or a bench over there, will improvements be allowed on that piece, or is it only use and maintenance?
Correct. Yeah, that falls under the use of it. So we could improve it.
Improvements are allowed. Okay. All right. Very good. And then most of my other questions, in fact, all of my other questions are just on the planning zone D as a whole with some of the numbers. And I just was looking at some of these different lists within the planning areas. So for example, Lynn Oaks Park, there's some plans for improvement in the future there. So we could have some additional there. Rolling Oaks, same thing. Hopefully there'll be something in the future with that. So we're gradually picking up some of those deficits. But Conejo Community Park, we've got 20 acres that are undeveloped, but I don't think there's any plan to develop anything that's not currently developed. Is that correct?
That's correct.
I guess we could always revisit that sometime in the future, but as of now, that's going to be static.
Correct. Yeah. And so one thing to keep in mind is the importance of the 3 different neighborhood planning zones, right? So,
Yes.
and yeah, we're kicking and scratching. We're trying to get as much parkland to be able to kind of balance the population currently, and then what we're planning for the future. And then something that's obviously we're in escrow for this property. So we have 61 acres in this similar planning zone. So from a neighborhood park level, 524 Jans Road's important from a neighborhood park level. However, this parcel here, as we have a plan of developing and figuring out, is going to help that as well.
Mhm.
So as you pointed out, Rolling Oaks as well as Lynn Oaks, but specifically Hillcrest as well.
Yes, yes.
So which is that's exactly kind of our game plan. Hey, this is our biggest planning zone, over 30,000 people, and we will have more than that in the coming years, and not too far off in the future from what we've been coordinating with the planning department at the city.
Okay. And not to pick on one of my colleagues here, but as the Lynn Ranch area has no parks, but they have a lot of residents. Is that a driver in this of why we're deficient? Is it's based on population and not acres?
Correct. Yeah. So that does come into play a little bit different, because it's there. Those are more larger ranch, like more estate properties. So they're more spread out. I think this really it serves them. It does serve Lynn Ranch, but it also serves the more traditional, single family homes directly adjacent to this parcel as well.
Right.
So-
Well, I mean, even though it's close to Lynn Ranch, it's not really walkable for most of Lynn Ranch. I mean, there's a few little connections there. But yeah, I think anything we could do, obviously Lynn Ranch has got the best open space in the world, so they've got a lot there. But I think just the numbers, and I think with some of those that I see, like like you said, Hillcrest will help that area, but this is great to have at least within somewhat of walking distance. Although like I said, other than maybe a little playground and a couple benches, I don't think there's probably a whole lot you can do there, but a little bit is better than nothing at all.
Definitely.
So look forward to that. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Director Nichols. Director Buss.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this because I do live in Lynn Ranch and I used to live across the street in Shadow Oaks and went to the Conejo Community Park like every day. And I walked one time there with my double stroller and never walked there again from Lynn Ranch. So yeah, Lynn Ranch, I think, it's interesting because right where this park is, a lot of people actually run a loop through that open space because Lynmere and Lynn Ranch, the way it connects. And the kids in Lynn Ranch go to the Presbyterian Church and use their tiny little playground. That's literally where they go because they ride their bikes and now they have their e-bikes so they don't get tired anymore when they ride their bikes. So I think like over time having a park there, especially for the front of Lynmere, that the gated part has their own park, but only they get to use it. So you do have a lot of families that live right there that will be super excited with the North Lynn Ranch track, the Lynmere track, and then the Lynn Ranch like families, I think will definitely, because that is one of the complaints about Lynn Ranch is that we don't have a park. And I was curious on that with, like the matching grants and what have you, because Lynn Ranch HOA has talked about wanting to put in a park, but of course there's not really land for it. And it's so expensive, the lots that do come up for sale. So maybe they would partner in fundraising on their end and then, right? Because it still technically would be a write-off for if they fundraised that community to match for like a
Yeah,
playground.
We would welcome any effort of the
Okay,
community to
'cause
be able to help provide.
they've discussed it a lot. It's just that they discussed it at the one church, not the Presbyterian, the other church. I forgot what it is. I think it's a Lutheran church. Because they do have maybe an acre right there that's not really being used, but the church is not interested. And so this might be a really good neighborhood that would be interested in participating and funding a playground there for the Lynn Ranch kids. So definitely some opportunity there. I'm more than happy to talk to the board about it too, because I don't think I'm sure all of our viewers right now are recognizing that this is happening and they're very excited, but I don't think my neighbors recognize this is happening. So yeah, I'm super excited about this. My 11-year-old, she still goes to the church and plays on the playground. So I had told her about this. I mean, she'll probably be like 15 by then, but she might go try it out at 15. Who knows? So yeah, very excited. Thank you for doing this work. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Director Buss. Time flies. Maybe your grandkids will go there.
Yeah.
Director Huffer.
Thank you. So the $1 is buying us the 1.1 acres of currently open space there. The right of way is being handled, I guess, more as a lease. We're sort of not purchasing the right of way. It's a lease. I believe Director Nichols asked you if improvements can be made on the right of way, and they can be.
Correct.
It's not likely that it would happen, but one of the recitals in the public right of way was that if the agreement becomes null and void or the agreement ends, that the park district would be responsible for restoring the property to its original, the way it was originally, and would have to remove any and all improvements.
Sure. Yeah, and so like just from a, in my head, planning what that park would look like, the majority of the improvements would be on the 1.1 acre. Right now, there's basically a city walkway and landscaping there now with mature trees. So that would remain, but we would definitely take that in consideration as we were kind of developing it, but we just don't have a plan yet. And then I'm sure Jim's gonna touch on the agreement a little more.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're teeing me up. Yeah, it is. So the underlying landowners arguably are the original subdividers. And I think the city didn't want to try to figure out and clean that up because, trying to figure out the original subdivider and cleaning all the legals. So they just said that we have a right of way interest. You guys can use it. But as Andrew said, yeah, we can throw improvements on there like easily to add, picnic tables and whatnot. But the closer you get to people's backyards, the less likely we have pretty significant improvements. So I'm guessing anything that would be, in terms of good park design, we'd probably sort of get it closer to the street than the back of the homes anyway, naturally, just how we do park design. But we'll keep the property lines in mind because yes, in theory, if the city said, hey, we just actually have to connect this street up, we're going to take that public right of way open, we'd have to let them do that. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions. One, for the maintenance operations and future plans. It seems a little random or not very clear when it just says the city will provide various site improvements. Is there anything specific with that other than separating the water and power utilities? And is there a dollar amount that the city is willing to pay? Or how is that working out?
Yeah, so the city had already a budget to be able to make some improvements there for one, the separation of utilities, like you mentioned. Fencing, there were some safety concerns from myself and my staff. There's a pump station next to us that's not a part of the agreement. But we requested that some fencing would be put up to keep if park visitors are coming there, that way they're not climbing through that area, as well as a handful of tree work. So there was quite a bit of tree work that needed to be done. And so that was part of the kind of exchange. I don't remember the exact budget number, but it was I think it was $100,000 to $100,000 they had. So they are doing some kind of a goodwill handoff, if you will. That was budgeted to be able to do it. They also did some sidewalk repairs to make sure that we didn't have any tripping hazards and cracks and stuff like that. So those are the like miscellaneous kind of random improvement type stuff. We just didn't want to get into too much detail because we figured we'd have this conversation.
So you felt comfortable with the amount they were willing to spend and what the improvements are?
Correct.
Okay. Are there any further comments or questions? All right, I'd like to make a motion on this. Who would like to make it? One?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, the one that lives closest should do that. Yeah.
Well, I was, if nobody said anything, I was going to make a suggestion.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we approve the recommendations. Do I have to read all of 1, 2, and 3?
Okay, as written in our agenda. A second to that?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And let the
Oh.
record state that we do have the dimes that the general manager suggested that we have. So there's there's 10 dimes here too from each board member that we can use to make sure that the budget is still intact for the park district.
So yes, thank you, Director Nichols, and I'm going to agree that for the record, Raquel, our board members are you doing this on behalf of all the board members?
Yes, yes, for
the record in the minutes, the board members are donating their own money for the $1 purchase price. So.
Okay, moving on to 9C. Madam Clerk.
Item 9C, agreement between the Conejo Valley Unified School District, CVUSD, and Conejo Recreation and Park District, CRPD, for joint use of facilities.
And who's going to be taking this?
Ms. Calix.
That would
Mrs.
be me.
Callis,
Thank you,
okay,
Clerk
thank you.
Hepsworth, members of the board. So as you guys know, we have a very long-standing relationship with the school district on facilities and parks. And every year we look at this, myself and one of the staff members at CVUSD, and this year it was up. And so the agreement was looked at. We decided to add in the pool agreements also. So instead of having the shared use facility and two pool agreements, we have combined them together so that will only be updating one agreement. This agreement will be good until 2031. Nothing's really changing in it. There's one change on it, which is 19, which adds mutual promotion and community outreach. We just put that in writing. It's basic that we will support each other as we do now. So with marketing and stuff to that effect. There is one change from what you have in your packet. You have an extra sheet in your file. On 4D, we added Los Cerritos futsal courts to our facilities with separate agreements. So in that, you can see the different parks that have an actual separate agreement still. The other thing on this agreement, which is now in writing that hasn't been in the past, is in Amendment A, where you have the two pool agreements. You also have an agreement for the Performing Arts Center, which we use in the summer for our teen summer musical. And so that is in writing now there. And I think that unless you guys have any questions, my recommendation is to approve the agreement with Appendix A with the one change of adding the Los Cerritos futsal courts to the agreement.
Okay, do we have any questions, Director Huffer?
Yeah, Rochelle, I was wondering, since I spend a few hours every year at Conejo Creek South, there is no agreement. I mean, you listed several facilities with separate agreements, Buyer Park, La Cañada, et cetera. But there is no separate agreement with the school district land just north of the soccer fields.
So the dirt lot that is theirs, yes, that is their property. If anybody needs to use it, we usually contact them and rent that.
Okay. My understanding, at least for Region 9, whenever we need the lot, Region 9 has to pay for it.
Mhm.
So any users of Park District facilities, the waiver only applies if the Park District itself is using the facility. It does not apply to permittees of Park District property, correct?
I believe I understand your question. So yes, if we cannot rent out to someone else a piece of their property. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like if we're using a school classroom during the summer, we are using it, or people who that contract with us, but we can't rent it to someone else. There's one place that we do that, and that is Sycamore Gym. We have an agreement with them, and that's a separate agreement. And we manage that facility after school hours and on weekends. And we do have groups that we rent that gym to.
Okay.
Did I answer the question?
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, hypothetically, if the Park District was to run a massive soccer tournament themselves on Conejo Creek South, then this fee waiver would apply, that the school district would not charge the Park District for using that dirt lot if the Park District itself were running the tournament.
I believe they would charge us for that. So there's certain things that they do charge us for. So in this agreement, we don't pay for like the classrooms, We have the agreement with the pools because we have a fee agreement with the pools. If they are using our soccer fields, like from the time school gets out until about 5 o'clock, they don't pay. But if they are on our fields or using a picnic area or something outside of that time or not for a school sanctioned event, they pay us. So there are some times when we pay also. So that particular dirt lot, I believe we would pay for.
Okay. I don't recall what the reason was, but somewhere in the last few years, there was a period where one or more of the high school teams needed field space at Conejo Creek South. Were we charging them for that field space?
So there was a point in this last year because their fields were being worked on at their schools during our seasonal time, and because we were working with them on it, they did not pay for it. But if it was potentially after hours, like 5 o'clock, it's possible that they paid for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Director Bus.
Question.
Director Nichols.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Regarding the pool agreements, am I remembering correctly that when the pools were built, that the Park District contributed money towards that?
Yes, sir.
And is that reference included in the previous pool agreements? Just to document that that was the case?
I don't know that it was actually referenced that we helped pay for the pool. But that is why we continue to be able to use the pool, and we continue to pay 25% of capital improvements and the maintenance so that we can continue to have it.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking that it was in previous agreements that to acknowledge that.
I can double check, but this was pulled right straight from the one we approved a couple years ago.
Okay.
So
Well, I guess what also caught my mind is in the whereases, it says, whereas since 1988, there has been, I think, the fourth whereas in approximately 1988, parties entered into agreement for joint use. And I thought, well, gosh, that started back when the pools were built in the 1960s.
Yeah.
So when it comes to recitals, maybe this isn't correct, or should the Appendix A reference that specifically? The reason I say that is I don't want to lose that historical significance that we as a district, we contributed to the construction and building of the swimming pool. And if that's not carried forward in documents and those documents get set aside, that will be lost. So
okay.
you could again, just for documentation purposes, when we're all dead and gone, somebody else can figure that out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'll look at the pool agreements in the whereases and see if
Okay.
that is actually in there, and then I can always come back with an addition to it.
Okay, great. Otherwise, as far as the agreements, I think it's great that we can continue to benefit from the relationship we have with the school district and enhance that in any way that we can.
If I do find that, do you want me to add it into the amendment and then have the school district add that in?
I
And
think that
would
would
be
be
okay?
beneficial. I believe that
Okay.
would be beneficial, yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you.
I enjoy your eagle eye.
Not everybody does.
Director Orozco. So I just have kind of a curiosity question. So, and maybe it's answered here, but do we have unequal hours? Does the school district use our facilities more? Or do we use theirs more? Does it come about pretty much even?
It's so years ago, we actually pulled a bunch of numbers and looked at it, and it was actually fairly even. So, and then what we do is every year, because we do it with specifically with the fields, we kind of look at it, and our agreement is that nobody uses more than an increase of 5% at any given time. So
Okay, so there is a record of that you are looking at. Okay.
they track it in all of our numbers people.
And so, except for those exclusions that you have, are we pretty much open to just say that we'd like to use your auditorium for this as long as they agree, or would they be able to say, no, I don't think so? Or they could do the same back to us? I mean, I guess that there has to be a little bit of negotiation if this isn't been an ongoing use.
Yeah, so pretty much our has been pretty consistent with what we do. They obviously, it's their schools, they get first use, just like ours is first for us. But then after us or them, then if we need it, we can put it into their facilitron, and their principals, if it's available, they approve it for us. So just like us, if it's during the time and it's a reasonable request, that's our normal procedure stuff. They're not asking for something like our pickleball courts. We don't do that. They don't do their tennis courts. We don't do our tennis courts. So stuff like that, we would pay for. But classrooms, after school classes, those are all, we get them. We just let them know days, times, and as long as it works in their schedule and they're not using it, then we usually are approved. Fields,
And
that's
I
kind of
guess
what
as
they
long
do.
as the teacher in that classroom approves.
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
was just thinking of that for me.
I think we use a lot more of like the outdoor space and the
Okay.
multi-use purpose rooms and stuff, like not necessarily actual teachers' classrooms, but there are some, like we've been in cooking classrooms and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it just depends. It's just a really, really good relationship with them, and our staff are very respectful to their properties and stuff, and they are with ours. So, and most of what they use is our outdoor space.
Mhm.
Most of what we use is their indoor space. So,
That's wonderful. I mean, that just, it's so nice when a community can work together
Mhm.
in that sense to benefit the community.
Right.
It's just a
Yes.
win-win for everybody.
Mhm.
Win-win-win, I guess. All righty. So, let's make a motion to have this go through. Who would like to make a motion? Director Roscoe.
I'll make a motion that we approve the updated agreement Appendix A between Conejo Recreation and Park District and the Conejo Valley Unified School District regarding the joint use of facilities agreements for 5 years expiring June 30th, 2031.
Thank you. And do we have a second? Thank you.
Just point of clarification, I know we did get a correction from, was it 4D? on
4D.
that?
With the possible addition of the information that you were
Right, and
discussing.
also with the possible addition for the amendment, or the appendix.
Okay,
So-
so are those
Are you
not,
agreeable to that? with-
I am agreeable to that with my motion, yes.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so I do have a question on those two because I see a 4D. Did you actually, you did not change the wording on that?
no, I did, in your, yes.
Oh,
It's in the orange, your orange.
it's in the
folder.
orange
So the
folder
board
and I didn't
packet
see
went-
that. Okay,
yeah.
so thank you. I was kind of wondering where I missed that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
She just
So
kind of slipped it in there.
slipped it in there. Okay, so thank you. So with the addition of the amendment and 4D, and do we have a second? Oh, and you already
I
seconded.
seconded.
We're ready to go. We're ready to
amendment.
vote on this. So all in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? No, motion passes. So let's go on to our reports and announcements. Does anyone have any comments or questions on our reports or announcements?
I do have some observations.
Okay,
This is on the budget item 10C. I was noticing that, for example, the Dos Vientos Assessment District had a percentage increase of over 2,000. And that's a significant change from the adopted budget. I was wondering how that could be if Ms. Smith could address that.
Sure. So the line that I think you're looking at is the interest. And so we only budgeted for $1,000 in interest earnings and we got more than that. So that's why that one line is at 2,000.
I just wanted you to get credit for that.
Thank you.
As also for the district-wide assessment interest is 126%. So thank you for counting pennies and dimes. And then also I just noticed that like licenses and permits, we had a number that were over 200% or over 100%. So which is revenue, which is good.
Yes, you're finding all my little pocket.
Yes. Well, appreciate you sharing that information with us. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have any other comments or questions?
Director Nichols stole my question.
Oh.
100% do that more often.
Well, I'm glad that was brought up and commented at this meeting, and so now we have it recorded and noted for the public. So thank you very much, Director Nichols. That is very impressive. All right, let's go ahead to our department reports. Parks Division,
Thank you.
Director Mooney.
Thank you, Chair Cuthbert, members of the board. Just a reminder, I sent you an email regarding the Conejo Creek Master Plan outreach meeting. So we do have 2 meetings next week. So Wednesday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. will happen in this very room. And then again on Saturday, April 25th at 9 a.m. again will happen in this room. So we'll be able to kind of share with the community the feedback that we received and some initial ideas and concepts of what the park may be in the future. So with that, I'm available for questions.
Do we have any questions? All right, Director Callis.
Thank you. All right, so a couple things in your packet just to highlight. So at the last board meeting, you guys asked about social services and the number that we kind of have with us. So I did a quick reach out to staff, and you have this paper in your file. It just kind of has a list of who's kind of in our building, what types of things we do. And as you can see, most of what's on there is actually the Global Center as per Julie's presentation. And as of lunch that you saw, all the people today out at lunch, those are most of our volunteers and stuff. But there's some additional information there. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Also wanted to let you know that I had James pull up, because you also asked what the average age was that attends the Global Center. And Patty did give an answer, and she was pretty right on, which is 70s is the magic number, but there are definitely some 60s and some 80s, and then a little bit spattered throughout there also. James, we also did our winter survey for our winter group, and you have the feedback summary form in there. And as you can see, we still are getting great responses, and people really, everything's in the 90 percentile as far as being satisfied. We do go through the comments that people take the time to write comments on. Many of them are wonderful comments, and some of them are areas in which we could improve on. And so staff is given the comments based off of their units, and they're able to read those and either give positive feedback to instructors or classes that good things were said, and or make changes or touch base with instructors that maybe things needed to be improved on. Just so you know, there's 111 people registered to roller skate with me tomorrow. Yep, and then a CSVP lunch. I'm sure that some of the board members will mention that, but an awesome event today. Julie and her team and Patty out there and Mike do such a fabulous job with that. They had over 380 folks that RSVP to that. It was amazing. And then just a couple of things that are going on in the next couple of weeks, if you want to add to your calendar, if they're not already there. Arbor Earth Day, the city is hosting that at the Thousand Oaks Community Center, and we will also have the rec van there, so you can get your bunny stamp. World of Tai Chi Days on the 25th, and Conejo Community Center is doing a whole 3 different things with Tai Chi, which is going to be really awesome. The Global Center is having their garage sale on the 26th, so go get your stuff at the garage sale. Summer registration starts on the 27th, and just as a kind of like interesting thing, I did a quick look because some of our summer classes have been being advertised and can already register for. We are completely sold out at Little Folks Camp as of today. So, and our sewing classes are completely sold out. So pretty interesting. So lots of other spaces for our other camps for other ages other than the little ones. So all is going really well. And with that, I'm available for questions.
Do we have any questions?
I have one question.
Please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. One question is really more from your recreation report. I noticed that I forget what you call them. It's the the no school day camps, or I'm not quite sure what it is,
Mhm.
that had zero participation.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the first time that's ever happened?
You know what? I believe that those particular camps were camps that we did last year in partnership with the school district. So some of the teachers who don't have school and they do a workday camp. And it just didn't sell out. So there were other things that kids were signing up for. They were doing the hour programs and the specialty programs, not like the half day or all day camps.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
it wasn't surprising.
Oh,
But
okay.
in past years, we did have attendance from the school staff. So it might have just been the way it fell. More people were actually out of town and didn't need the care.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions? Okay, let's move on to management services.
Thank you, Chair Cuthbert. I'll be super brief. I just wanted to give an update on the technical issues from our last board meeting. So I'm sure you all watched it again, but we were able to get it posted with the audio without issue. And thanks to Raquel and Katie and Juan. And so we got that going on. But I'm going to use it as an opportunity to give a refresher to everyone on the Brown Act about if that happens during a meeting. Because we're notifying the meeting that we're going to have that Zoom participation functionality. If we have that issue come up, we're going to ask you to pause the meeting and let us reboot our stuff and like make an announcement saying, hey, we're having a technical issue. We're going to come back in 5 minutes. You might need to relog on. So just a heads up, if that happens again, that's how we'll be handling that. It didn't affect any action items last time or us posting the meeting. So that's my little update, and I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? I appreciate that because I think last time I said, I don't know what to do. So, so I'm glad now that I'll know what to do. And if I don't, I'm sure you'll remind me.
I'll try to remember.
Thank you. Okay, let's go on to our general manager.
Yes, thanks, Chair Cutsworth, members of the board. I just wanted, this is one of those meetings, I do this a couple times, I probably don't do it enough, but just to call out staff and thank them for their hard work, and also the board, because I was thinking about what we did tonight, and we did a big thing with McCray, which is a nonprofit partner. We did a big thing with a city where we, without fanfare, are taking over a city property and turning into a park. And we did a big thing with the school district, which is continue to do a facility sharing agreement. And I would submit that all three of those aren't easily done in other communities or places. And I think it just, just take a moment and say, you guys do really good stuff. I think by being out there in the community and associating with our, your fellow electeds, the board buddies, and just anybody on the boards and bodies and having relationships with, I think that it just helps us all do our jobs of serving the whole public so much better. So thank you. And I know that relationship extends to staff too, because all of those agreements require this staff over here talking to their counterparts at those agencies and nonprofits. So congratulations, you guys. It's a good night. Some big stuff happened, and not a lot of bells and whistles, but it happened. So great job. Today I did go to the Ventura County Sheriff's breakfast this morning, and Sheriff Freihoff had a really good presentation on how well the Sheriff's Department is doing and how well our county is doing. It was kind of encouraging to hear. The Ventura County Community Foundation hosted a lunch and learn today, which was on the Ventura County Open Space Collaborative. So it's a growing group of park and open space entities interested in better understanding the economic value of the open space and parks in the county. And we're looking to grow a coalition of folks to help fund a study to that effect. So we'll probably continue to talk about that as that evolves. Wanted to thank specifically Raquel for getting our dinner tonight, and then running all over and getting us ready for leadership tomorrow. So leadership Conejo, the chamber, the bus tour and all that is tomorrow. And I am rarely do I have somebody that is going to know a lot more about everything we do than on the bus. So normally I kind of talk and, I don't have to worry about someone second guessing me, but Nellie's going to be on the bus. So I'm a little nervous about doing the park tour tomorrow. somebody knows a lot more about a lot of stuff in terms of our history here for sure. So I just make stuff up when people ask about history. So now I'm going to get called out. Anyway, with that, I'm available for questions.
Any questions? I have a question. What was the name of that group that you were at today?
It is the Ventura County Open Space Collaborative.
Is there someone there that might want to give a lecture to VCSDA? Or is that not?
Yeah, absolutely. You can get in touch with me.
Okay. I just didn't know if that was like an actual group who had like a president or somebody that
No,
could come
we're
and talk.
collaborative, loosely organizing.
Okay,
So
so
we
you're-
don't have the structure.
trying-
We've had one meeting.
Oh.
And it's like, hey, we should do this, you guys.
Okay, so, all right, that's what I wanted to know. So it's not. I've already had you talk once, so I don't know if I'll.
Yeah,
pull
no,
that in again.
I put Melissa in front of the group. BAFA. She's the executive director of the Ventura Land Trust.
Oh, okay, so Ventura Land Trust, I'll put that in.
Yeah.
I think you've told us about that before, haven't you? I think we've talked about the Ventura Land Trust. Okay. All right, moving on. Shall we start with Director Huffer? What have you been up to?
Sure, why don't we start with me? I don't remember if I mentioned this at our last board meeting, but it was just the day before our board meeting. I was sitting in on the interviews for the Global Senior Commission, and it's an impressive group of people who are applying for a purely voluntary position. I mean, you know, the resumes for these folks was pretty incredible. So they have chosen several very good people to either continue, or I think there was one new person that they're adding to the senior commission, but it's a very impressive group of people. You mentioned VCSDA. There's a fascinating meeting that you had us up at the Channel Islands Harbor. I hadn't been there just years and years, and to listen to the gentleman who is in charge up there. I now have another place where I can take my grandkids when they come to visit. So that was really, it was a really good meeting. So I'm enjoying, Nellie, all these different facilities and organizations that we're getting exposed to. So kudos to your job as president of this. We had a COSCA board meeting a week or so ago, and hopefully Doug can remember what it was. We spent a lot of time on one topic, and I'm forgetting.
It was the funding for the invasive species,
Oh, that's right. Okay.
invasive plants
Yeah.
for eradication,
Yes.
because they had a management plan presented
Yeah.
for that.
So, I mean, they had this long list of invasive species that they're going to try to get rid of. And I mean, they've got some priorities of what they're going to tackle first, but that's a big project. That's a big job. And then the tax season is over. Yay! I haven't seen the final numbers, but we're either at or very close to the most returns that we've ever done in a single tax season through the CSVP tax program. So hopefully at the next meeting, I'll have some final numbers. But it was a busy week. Got all these people showing up who could have had their taxes done in early February, and they waited until April 13th or 14th to get their taxes done. So it was very strange because I wasn't actually scheduled on the 15th on Wednesday, but I popped over there early afternoon to see if they needed any help. And there were no clients waiting, but all the preparers were busy. But at the volunteer luncheon today, I talked to a couple people who were over at the Newbury Park Library. You know, they do just one day a week at the Newbury Park Library. And the entire day, Newbury Park Library, they had 5 clients. So had we known at Conejo Creek South, we would have sent some of them over to Newbury Park. But anyway, it's done. We do first Wednesday of each month. We take appointments for clients who need to amend returns, have prior year returns, get letters from the IRS that always panics people. And so the one day a month. So that's my report.
Thank you very much, Director Buss.
So we had spring break and kids were home, so I really didn't do much in regards to CRPD. Sorry, guys. I did go and got some time on the slopes in Mammoth, and there was a little bit of snow left. And then I went to a horse show out in LA Equestrian Center, and it was raining, so that was really fun. It's always fun to be at a horse show when it's raining. And what else? Yeah, that's it. I was bummed. I missed which I'm excited for Ashley to talk about because I wanted to go to the Conejo Youth and Family meeting on immigration and hear about that. But yeah, so I don't have anything to report. I am in chili cook-off hell month. So I will not be able to talk about anything but chili cook-off for a while. I'm glad we don't have a meeting for a while because it's a lot right now. I am chili cook-off customer service. It's my phone number when people call and ask where their tickets are, how they apply to be a vendor, all of it. Yes. They are so lucky. They don't know how good this customer services skills are right here. So yeah, that's it. That's all I have for you.
Thank you very much. And Director Nichols.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I unfortunately could not attend the luncheon today. Thought of all the things that I could have done today. If I was doubled, I might have been able to do it all, but couldn't get there, or cloned, I guess I should say. I had went to the VCSDA meeting on the 7th, and then our Costco board meeting on the 8th, and then today I had a CARPD Association Legislative Committee meeting this morning. I know Mrs. Smith and our general manager were there. I don't know if they were there the whole time. I did see their lovely participation squares there. One of the key topics, I say key topics, we were just reviewing with our consultant, gosh, maybe 20 different bills that we have some level of interest in, whether we are opposing, supporting, neutral, and taking various roles we're going to take on. But one that I think maybe got more attention than anything else was there's a bill proposed where if a developer has a preliminary development proposal that they submit, that they are asking for a itemized list from all public agencies, utilities, park districts, everything else within 30 days of all of the things that they would need to provide based on their development project. And so we were contemplating how that might work just with the logistics, since we are, as a special district, are not a land use agency. And so those projects are not submitted directly to us. So there's a timing issue on how that actually gets conveyed. And then also, since these are just preliminary projects and not approved, and they may not get approved for some time, if you provide a list and or costs, that project may not be developed for 5-10 years, or perhaps not at all. And so how do you estimate costs of when it's being built in 10 years from today, when you don't really know? So those are the types of discussions that we have, which generate a lot of consternation. But it's all good. It's all good to be engaged in part of that process. And we get some great participation. There are 5 CARPD board members on the committee, and then we also have about 5 just members from our district that are there. But we usually get about, maybe 30 or 40, you would say, participants, just people of interest to participate in those meetings. Just knowing what this may or may not, foretell for their districts. And again, we have, from large to small. So again, I don't want to belabor the point of going over all 20 plus bills. We will review those at our annual conference, which is next month in Monterey. If you haven't signed up, feel free to do so. Be a great opportunity up there, but we will have a lot of discussion up there on that. So that was my morning there. Then of course we came here to the board meeting. I do want to proudly announce the arrival of our 6th grandchild. So she showed up on April 9th, not without some complications. In fact, their mother and daughter are still down at Cedar Sinai after 7 days, and we'll be there for a little while. But things are looking very positive. So we're looking forward to getting her back. I say getting my daughter back home, but getting the baby home, but probably not for another week or so. But they're doing well. Just a little process to go through. Thank you.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah.
And Director Orozco.
Yes. So let me see. Yesterday, I had it in my head. Yesterday, what did I do yesterday? Oh, I went to, I attended the All District Music Festival, where our youth performed strings. I think it was the last strings performance. I never know which one's my favorite, the string or the band. So we'll have to,
Strings are good.
circle
Strings are good.
back. Yeah, strings were very cool. Their larger piece was something from the Lord of the Rings. And it's so fun to see the progression from the little ones
Yes.
in elementary, and then you see the advancement into middle school, and then you're like, oh my goodness, what the transition into high school just is mind blowing. So that's always really fun. And then, as alluded to by Director Buss, we did have our meeting of the Conejo Coalition for Youth and Families. And part of this year, the direction that we wanted to take the coalition was to center our meetings around a particular topic. And so this week's topic was, or this month's topic was focusing on our immigrant community and our farm worker community. And so we had three speakers. The first was Dr. Martita Martinez Bravo. She's the executive director as well as city councilwoman down in Camarillo. She was there to speak on behalf of Friends of Field Workers. And so she helped provide some insight into the work that Friends of Field Workers does. She also shared some really interesting facts that there are 42,000 farm workers here in Ventura County, and that our agricultural economy is $2.3 billion. And the core programs that they focus on revolve around a mental health pilot program that they're just now launching, Laundry Love that they partner with Food Share, where they invite farm worker families to come do laundry for free as much as they would like. That they have scholarship opportunities for children of field workers, and things like emergency funds where they directly write a check to families who are in need of financial support, whether they're facing a particular family emergency or what have you. A whole host of other things like book drives, boots drives, tons of other really wonderful assistance programs. When asked, or I asked each of the groups what they would like to see, or how our three agencies could help, and a lot of or what Friends of Field Workers had mentioned was that they're looking for sponsorship opportunities, if that's at all possible, and then just really sharing, especially up here in the Conejo Valley, because they don't just provide services to the greater Oxnard area. We have farm workers all throughout Ventura County, and so they would like to be known as a resource for the entirety of Ventura County. The second group that we heard from was 805 UndocuFund, where we had their programs family coordinator, Beatrice, speak. And 805 UndocuFund helps provide services to Ventura County, San Luis Obispo County, and Santa Barbara County, and primarily focus on our undocumented community and providing direct resources to those in need. One thing that I found so inspiring, so Beatrice, she's a very young woman in her early 20s, and she's just so insightful. And she mentioned that what impacts one impacts us all, and just stress the importance of being there for our immigrant community. When asked what we could do to help support, she mentioned that she would like us to help disseminate their hotline phone number, which is 805-870-8855. And then lastly, the final representative was from House Farm Workers. We had Gabrielle, who is the executive director, come speak. They presented, unfortunately, they were very sick, and so they presented via Zoom, which was just as wonderful. And so House Farm Workers, one of their big initiatives is a Ventura County farm worker housing study and action plan. They have two dates where there is a public draft review that they would like the public to come and attend. The first is May 27th and the second is June 4th. And they are really advocates for affordable housing for farm workers and have committees in nearly every city throughout Ventura County where they are really just advocates and therefore education around affordable housing. Some interesting tidbits of information that they shared was that the average two-bedroom home in Ventura County is for rent at $2,800 a month, and that the median income of a field worker is $22,300 to $25,000 a year, where 48% of their income is spent on rent. And so, again, when I asked what we could do to support, again, they stressed sponsorship opportunities and really drawing people to their public draft review on May 27th and June 4th. And and then lastly, some fun information about the Conejo Coalition for Youth and Families was that we were able to, the three members were able to select a logo for some branding opportunity, just so that we can better collaborate and disseminate information, because this coalition is so unique. It is one representative from each of the three different branches of our local government. And so, to be able to share information as it relates to youth and families throughout the Conejo Valley via this particular branding will be a new fun experiment and something to look forward to. And that's it for me.
Thank you. So just a little bit of information. Are these meetings that you have open to the public?
They are open to the public, yes.
And so how do people find out about that? Are they advertised somewhere?
Not necessarily. I think that that's something that we're working on. It is posted publicly to, I believe, the city's page, correct? And ours?
It's our
It's our
webpage.
website.
Yes, we have a page on our webpage for them. And then we posted at all the locations, just like the Brown Act. And we did this time send out a email just with the agenda on it. Since it's a new format that we're doing, to our past folks that have participated in the summit. So, and then we posted on our website the week before.
Okay. So when you post on the website, is it difficult to find?
No, it's under partnerships.
It's under, so, okay. No, I was just wondering, and also for all of the people that are listening at home. Because it sounded like you had three very impressive speakers.
We did.
That people might have wanted to come to. And I've always envisioned in my mind that this was just a small group of people meeting, not that it was a public meeting with a lot of people coming. So anyway, that might be something to, be sure is advertised, because there might be people wanting to come, and then the more
Yeah.
people that would come, it seems like that would make more of an impact on our community.
Absolutely.
What you're
And
talking about.
as chair, I should have announced to the board prior to this particular meeting. So I will do my due diligence and make sure that the next meeting I will announce at our board meeting prior to the next Coalition for Youth and Families meeting. I will say the next meeting, I believe, is centered around our planning efforts for our summit. Thank you. And so that one won't be as robust as this one. So.
Okay. All right. It's just quite an extensive report. So it sounded like there was a lot to learn there. So thank you very much. So for my report, I was, of course, at the VCSDA meeting, and our next one will be at Fire Station 50. And I went there with Leadership Conejo, and they have like 3 different fire trucks with hazmat stuff and all sorts of things. So it should be very interesting to go to the fire station and learn about them. And if you haven't already filled out your survey, please get that to Raquel. So we are taking surveys to find out what people would like to have us do for the next year. Also, I was not able to go to the volunteer lunch, which I've wanted to go the entire time I've been on the board, but I was always working. So of course I could never go because I was at school. And then the last couple of years I was vacationing, and then Julie called me up and said, hey, are you gonna talk, give a little introduction because you're the board chair this year? And I said, yes. And I even wrote a little speech and then found out that I have my granddaughters visiting this week. So I didn't think that that would be fun for them to go to. So I had to skip out on my ukulele concert also because I didn't think that they wanted to go to that
There's
either.
donuts and ice cream.
Well, we spent the day at the beach today. So it was pretty fun. I think they had these Seattle girls were pretty happy soaking up the sun at the beach and stacking rocks. We did stack rocks at the beach. Yes, all my grandkids have to stack rocks with me. So, so yes, that was, I am sorry I missed that. I do have something that I'd like to ask. So on our upcoming events, it does not have the gratitude circle. I'm assuming we're still having that on April 27th. Okay, so, in the past, we've sometimes gotten a little bit of a biography on the different people and who we are speaking with. So we could kind of talk to that person to make sure we weren't saying the same thing. So I do have a request that we get something like that.
I will send out an email right away, but I can already tell you that Marissa and well, I'm not going to say, well, Marissa and I are going to do Brenda. And Ashley are doing Lori, and Doug and Chuck are doing Bob. So, and I actually have the write-up all done, so I'll get that out to you guys.
I kind of knew that already, but I didn't know if everybody else knew that. I think you sent out something to that effect at some point, maybe, but we talked about it. But yes, because I do want to get something so we can decide so we're not saying the same thing. Okay. So I guess that's it. Do we have a request for status reports or items for
I
subcommittee
do have one
agendas?
item to add, since two of you indicated you had not been at the volunteer appreciation luncheon. I forgot to add that I was at the volunteer appreciation luncheon today. So short-term memory, you know how it goes.
So who talked on my behalf? Chuck.
That would be me.
Chuck, that was you. Okay.
And I promised them 35 minutes or less, and someone said, no, 35 words or less. So, I think I was closer to 35 words than 35 minutes, right?
I should hope so. All righty. Do we have any items from the public? No. And I do not believe we have an executive closed session?
Nope.
No. So this meeting is adjourned until May what?
May 7th.
May 7th.
Oh.